Welcome, everyone. Hope all is well. Hope you had a good week of trading. We had orders peppered on dollar CAD, euro dollar, CAD yen, a few other ones. So we'll get into all that. We're going to cover some higher time frame structures and dial all the way down to the 1 hour chart. Look for structures for. We're going to look for specific structures this week that I want to see play out. So we'll dive into that. Cover Nasdaq, cover right usual stuff. So we will get started. Risk disclaimer. Read it over, and let's go. So we'll start off here on the Nasdaq, and you're coming up to. I'm on Nasdaq futures. So you want to set an alert up here at 20,100 and just call it 50. You've got weekly pivots and your quarterly R2 up here. And if we make it up there, right? That's you're looking at probably 500 more points, right? 500-point rally, and we'll be up into that quarterly R2. You absolutely want to be dialed into the smaller time frame, so set an alert. If price gets up there, you know you got to jump into the 5 minute chart and take every sell setup you get. If we make it up there, all right, because right now we're running into our 100 extension, and our midpoint is right under that gray line. Can't really see it. But last quarter, we stopped at the midpoint. It gave you about a 2,500 point sell off. So if we stop at the midpoint in the 100 again, or is it going to rally up, right? I don't know. We could stop here or we could stop here. But if we do get up to this quarterly R2 this week, you got a slam dunk sell trade on your hand in the lower time frame. This 100 here is just this weekly impulse. I'll hide these indicators. And it's just 100% of this, right? We'll zoom out here. Equal lengths, right? Equal lengths of this, and you're coming into the 100 now, and uh your quarterly midpoint, right? So, and we could stop here, or it might just want to rally another 500 points and tag the quarterly R2 up here, right? And that's going to be a slam dunk sell because that falls right in between your 100 and your 123.6. You got your weekly pivot up there, your quarterly R2. I mean, that's a nice sell area right there. So set an alert. Um, and that's pretty simple. Time to start looking for sell-offs in Nasdaq. I don't think you're getting past this level. All right, so you're looking for sell-offs this week. Drop back down to the daily chart. Sell-offs all the way. All right. Oil. There's nothing to do on oil, right? We're let me put the other chart on real quick with just the EMAs, right? You got your contracting, right? Are you going to come after this high or this low? Or are you coming after this low, right? Who knows? You're going completely sideways. You could make a B wave up to these highs, or you can continue making a wave down to these lows. So, and when you go to the weekly chart's not telling you anything either. So you're in a completely sideways contracting market. So, right, could go either way. There's nothing very high probable if you're a swing trader in oil, in my opinion. Gold, all right. Gold, you're still just correcting, right? We labeled this WXY out, and we're looking for corrections, right? We started labeling this back here on top of this A wave, A, B, C. So I think you can look for sell setups. I would only take a sell if we come up to our weekly R1 right here, because you got this daily order block up here. You got your weekly R1. You got this trend line. So you'll have a confluence of traders up here at about 2369. And remember, I'm on futures, so my chart will probably look a little different than you if you're on GLD or XAU. So that is gold. We'll get into dollar CAD, right? Because here's where the good trades are at. The good trades are dollar CAD, euro dollar. So dollar CAD, big picture, right? Let's just step out for a minute and get a big picture view on dollar CAD. And I'll take these indicators off. All right. And you have a flat correction right here, right? So we're looking for something like this. You're looking for an X wave up right now. You have a flat, an A, a B, a C flat for a W wave. And right now we're just making that X wave on up. And if you're not familiar with this, I covered some complex corrections in the parabolic SAR video, so you can check that out. So, right, this is what we're looking for now. And we're in an uptrend on the monthly, right? If I put the EMAs on, you're in an uptrend. You're bullish, and the pattern's bullish, right? So we're looking for that wave up to complete the X wave. And the good thing about this chart, right? The alternate, here's your highs up here from 2000. Now, there's also a scenario to which this is all your X wave. This ABC flat right here is all your X wave. And you got a W, you got an X, and you're getting a Y coming up for that, right? You're just making a WXY for a larger X wave all the way back to the all-time highs. Are we getting ready for something like this, right? Well, who knows? Right now, all we're going for is this little piece, right? We're going for this little piece on the monthly, but if it turns into this, fine, right? If it could turn into a more impulsive move back to these highs up here, right? Just making a larger WXY structure, all right? Or we're doing this and we're just building out a larger WXY structure before we go up to the top. So, and this is the piece we're focused on right now. So all we are is focused on this piece on dollar CAD right now on monthly chart. One wave up. All right, let's drop down to the weekly. So we're focused on this piece, and this is the possibility, right? You're either going to drop down to your daily 200. This right here would be your daily 200. If we drop down to the bottom here, that's your daily 200. We'll go to daily chart, and I'll put the EMAs on. All right, that's your daily 200. That is the only question. Is dollar CAD going to throw you this move down to the daily 200 before we start this larger degree Y wave, right? X wave up, WXY, right? WXY for your larger degree X wave. So that's the only question. Or did it already start? And when we go down to the 4-hour chart, what do we want to see? All right, what do we want to see in dollar CAD this week? And it's pretty simple, right? We're on the 4-hour chart. We want to see this weekly pivot hold, and if you're going to make some kind of a flat right here, then you want to see this thing go. You want to see an impulse right now. All right, you're looking for this thing to go. Come down here and go. We don't want to see any daily closes below this low. All right, now I don't think this is what it's doing. I think you're getting ready to do this week. We'll go to 1-hour chart. And all you're doing is making a flat right here, right? So you're making a flat, and we'll probably open up the market, probably go break these highs, and you're building out a running flat, and we're getting ready to go. All right, so, and all of this is just a flat correction. This is probably what you're doing, and we're looking to go, and this is kicking this thing off when we step out here to the daily chart, right? Go weekly chart, and we'll zoom in. All right, we're on the weekly chart. You got the A, the B, the C for the A wave. Come down for the B, and now we're in the A and the B part, right? So we're looking for a running flat right here. The only question we have is this structure, are you going to come back to this lows one more time, which is your daily 200 and your weekly 34? All right, as of right now, it doesn't look like it, but all we could do is play the smaller time frame. All right, smaller time frame looks like it wants to give you this, a running flat, and we're gone. So we're not going to come retest these lows. But if we start closing below this level on the daily chart, now the probabilities of coming and retesting your daily 200 are a little more likely. All right, it gives you something like this, and then you're gone. All right, either way, we're looking for this X wave. You've got bullish trend, we've got bullish patterns, we've got two bullish patterns. One's even more bullish than this. All right, so look for buy setups, right? And we just don't want to see a close below this pivot, basically, right? We just don't want to see a close below here. And it should be a pretty strong reaction, because when we step out to the weekly chart and we zoom in, we do have this weekly order block was never touched right here. All right, here's our wick, and your weekly order block was never touched. So we'll put a price level on top of that order block, drop back down to the 4-hour chart, and there is our weekly order block with our pivot. All right, so it's also our 4-hour 200. So even if we come down here, I would expect to be bought up very quickly. All right, so 4-hour chart, we're looking for a running flat, or you're going to get a move down, bounce off your pivot, and rip. Any close below this level, get out, and then now we have to look for that move down to the daily 200. All right, for the daily 200 at that point. All right, so that is that. Dollar CAD, big picture, we're going after, you're looking for this wave up. All right, we're looking for another 1,000 points, and it could also turn into just a straight nuke like this. And if it's a larger degree, WXY structure up to these highs. All right, so dollar CAD buys all the way. Euro, weekly chart. All right, weekly chart. We clear this off, and we got to close below the 8, right? So we talked about, we peppered orders up here, and we had orders peppered at our 200, and we had orders peppered up here. So for the press conference, right? And we were looking for a weekly close below the 8. And when you go to weekly chart, you got the weekly close below the 8. You're looking for trend continuation now. All right, you're looking to sell any pullbacks to come take out these lows. All right, and probably retest these lows. That's pretty simple. You want sells all the way in euro dollar. Now, when we go to the 4-hour chart, do we see any high confluence areas this week, right? On the 4-hour chart, you've got this imbalance area here that lines up with your pivots, right? So here's your imbalance area right in between your pivots. This is a great area to sell, all right? Do we have anything on the daily chart? Nothing really. We got one order block that's all the way up here, and that wouldn't line up with anything. All right, weekly chart, do we have anything? No. So the only thing we have is on the 4-hour chart, and we got this imbalance area with your pivots. That also lines up with our 4-hour 200. So any double tops off the 200 are money. All right, you get a double top off the 200 in this area, it's a great trade. You got pivots, you got imbalance 4-hour imbalance traders, and we got our EMA setup. So sell pullbacks in euro dollar. All right, and if you want to be aggressive, you take a 4-hour 34B, but save some money, right? If you come up here, take a shot, but save some money in case it wants to do this up to the 4-hour 200. All right, now you have structure to pull at that point. All right, you got structure to pull, and now you can just wait to break. As you're breaking structure, take the sell and put your stop above the high, and you're golden. You're in the trade. All right. So, euro dollar. You're looking for sells all the way. This is a nice area right here, right? It's confluence with our 4-hour 200, imbalance, 4-hour imbalance right here, and pivots, weekly pivots. So, not a bad spot to look for sells. Aussie, right? We were looking for Aussie to close the week out below this 8, and it's just about there, right? So we went over this in the Daily Blitz video that bulls needed to do something with this candle right here, all right? Bulls needed to do something with this daily engulfing candle above the 8 because they had a bullish stack, right? They had a bullish stack. Bulls had a potential complete ABC correction. Here's your close above the 8, and you wanted to see this thing go, but it's falling apart. Bulls didn't do anything with it. Now, they're not out of it yet because we don't have a lower low, right? This low here didn't fail, so and they're holding on by a thread right now. Bulls are holding on by a thread, and I think next week we're closing below this 8, all right? And then once we close below this 8 on the weekly chart, that should kick off the impulse we're looking for this expanded flat and impulse down to go break the lows. All right, so we're looking for that right now, but bulls are still kind of trying to do something right here. All right, so you're still kind of there because you're still stacked on that, right? Your 89's crossing your 200, your 34 is above, your 21, so you still have a daily stack here. And, right, bulls could still make another higher high, so it's iffy, right? Because you're coming into that weekly overbought 89, and you're hanging on the 8 by a thread, but you got a bullish setup when you jump down a time frame. So I'm more interested in sells, and we just need bulls to fall apart right here, which it looks like they're doing. So that's what we got on Aussie. I'd much rather buy New Zealand. So if I'm going to take a buy against the dollar, it would be in New Zealand. All right. So, and to be honest with you, it does kind of, this pattern right here, it kind of reminds me of a running flat, right? Where you do this. And it feels like feels like it wants to give you a running flat. It's kind of what this pattern is setting up to do. I'll probably take a shot on New Zealand right here on the 200 if that sets up. So, I don't know. This might be a good shot as well. You got your 200, you got your pivots. So, if anything, I would take a shot on New Zealand. But daily chart, go to daily. You are stacked. So, is New Zealand going to start building out a running flat and continue on up? So, 4-hour chart, right? I'd be looking for something like that on 4-hour chart. I'm not real interested in buying against the dollar though, so we'll get into some cross pairs in a little bit. But I would much rather buy like NZD CAD, right? That's pulling back. Pound CAD's pulling back. Right? Sell Aussie New Zealand, right? That's kind of what I would do. But what do we got next? Pound, nothing doing, right? You're just contracting on pound. We go to the weekly chart and you're just contracting. Pound's kind of the same thing as oil, right? There's no trend and your swings are getting smaller and smaller. And you could come after this high or you could come after these lows. And when you go to daily chart, right? I mean, there's just nothing interested in pound. No clear pattern, right? And you could make a 3-wave structure down to these lows, or you could pop this top. So there's nothing real high probable in pound dollar, in my opinion. Dollar yen, go to 4-hour chart, and took out this high. I mean, you've kind of got a complete pattern here for B wave. We don't have a sell set up yet though, and I do like CAD yen better. So, but we did take out these highs right here. You got an A, you got a B, you got a potential C, something that could be like ending diagonalish or something. So we'll see. There's nothing real interesting. I would rather just sell CAD yen. So we'll cover CAD yen now since that was traded a week. CAD yen was traded a week, right? And when we put a count on this thing, we're looking for this, right? So we are looking for this. A wave 1 down. You got an A, you got a B, you got a C for wave 2. Now you're starting at lower degree 1, 2. All right, so zoom into this. We're looking for a lower degree wave 3 down to this 1618, and we tagged 100, right? We drew this up right before Bank of Japan rate decision and press conference. We were down here, and you got a Y wave up to the 100. Now, when we go to the 1-hour chart, when we look at this 1-hour chart, all right, let me let me just go back to get all this stuff off of there real quick, and let me get rid of these indicators. And we were looking for a 1-2. When you look at this, here's your W wave right here. All right, you got a flat correction for your W. Here's your X. All right, here's your Y wave up. This is where we had our order at 115. Now, we would have liked to see this continue through this structure instead of stop, right? And we'd have liked to see a little correction underneath the structure, and then you're gone. So right now, we've got orders here, and we have orders here at 115. So right now, you're sitting pretty much at break even, all right? You're sitting at break even on this trade, and you got a couple options. You can either hold it until it takes out this high. You can dump it and take a daily. Clear this off. Take a daily, close below the 8. All right. So if we get a daily bullish, bearish engulfing candle that looks like this, now you're coming out of this structure, and you could take that sell. Or you keep tracking this thing in the 1-hour time frame, right? So we already established we have our W up here. We've got our W, got our X, got our Y, and this thing can only make one more correction in this degree. All right, so if we come up here, if we do this right here, and then we come down like this, now we got another X wave right here. All right, so now you got a W, an X, a Y, an X, and it's either going to throw you flat like this, and now you got a Z wave. All right, now you're over, now you're going. All right, now you're absolutely going. Worst case scenario, it throws you a 3-wave correction, 3-wave move back down to the bottom of this structure. All right, so this would be worst case. It's either going to throw you flat right here, or it's going to throw you a zigzag. All right, or it's going to throw you a zigzag, something like this. All right, a zigzag correction for your Z wave, either flat or the zigzag, and then you're done in this degree. You're at least coming back down to this bottom in a three-wave structure. So you can wait for a Z wave to set up, take another shot with a stop against this high up here. All right, so that's pretty much that. CAD yen, I still feel like this thing looks bearish. Like I said, you can shut the trade down now for break even. Take a daily close below the 8. You can leave your trade on without, and you don't want to see a close above this high, or track it in the 1 hour chart now. Now that we're done with the big news events, you can simply trade this thing in the 1 hour chart if you recognize if we form something like this, right? If we start making a flat here at your X and then you got one more correction and you're gone. So, but we'll be tracking this in Daily Blitz. So let's get on with a couple more of these. Pound CAD, all right? Pound CAD daily chart. And we're getting a correction now. If we can make it down here, I don't know if we're going to make it down to the 618, but if we do, it's going to be a great trade, right? Because here's your potential running flat. Clear these indicators off. You see it better. And we're looking for a running flat. The problem is we're running into our daily 34 and our 4 hour 200. So our 4 hour 200 would have to fail first. And this is actually going to be a good trade as well. Because now you're going to, any double bottoms down here off the 200 while you're in this pivot area is a nice trade, all right? What you don't want is, if we start doing this and these get taken out, then we're coming down to the 618, all right? And this 618 is going to be an absolute monster trade if it gets there, because it's also your daily 200. And if we look at this with quarterly pivots, it's your quarterly S1. Next quarter's S1, all right? So if we're going to take a shot here in the 4 hour. We're going to take a shot, pound CAD, for a 4 hour double bottom in our pivot area. If that fails and turns into this, then we're going to have another great trade down here at our 618 and our next quarter's S2 in the completion of this running flat. All right, so pound CAD, nice trade, good trading this week. Pound dollars, we're looking for this thing to go. This thing needs to go now. All right, we're coming into our 200 again. We got pivot support and we got structure now. So you want to see this thing go. You want to see it break structure and you want to see it go. All right, basically DXY, right? Remember I showed you the DXY daily chart. If we go to the daily chart on DXY, here was your double bottom off the 200 and break structure, and we're getting that 834 cross now, right? We're coming to take out these highs. We got the setup we were looking for, right? Back to pound dollars. It's the same setup. It's just on the 4 hour chart, right? So drop down the 4 hour chart. You got the same, it's the same exact setup. You're looking for break a structure, 834 cross, and we're looking to come take out these highs, and we're looking to do it right now. Shouldn't play around here anymore. You got a double bottom of 200. You got pivot support. This thing should go, all right? Pound dollars should go. Covered pound CAD. NZD CAD is also pulling back, all right? And you're in a nice area again for NZD CAD. On the 4 hour chart, again, when we go to the daily chart, we go to pivots real quick, right? Because you're coming off of your quarterly R2 up here, right? But we are towards the end of the quarter. So, I mean, I could see us doing something like this, and you run up to like your next quarter's R1 and we open up the quarter. You're close enough to the end of the quarter where I don't think it matters. I think we can start using next quarter's pivots. So we did get a daily close below the 8. I'd really like to see an oversold daily 34B down here. Like if we could correct down to this pivot, down the next quarter's pivot, this would be a great buy setup for for another impulse up, right? To come take out these highs up here. So, but we do have a 4-hour setup right now. We got pivot support. We're coming into the 89. So I think taking a 4-hour buy setup is definitely worth a shot. So if we get a 4-hour 89B, it's going to be worth taking. All right. It's definitely going to be worth taking. If you want to maybe save some money in case this fails and we drop down to our pivot and our 4-hour 200, you could do that as well. So maybe go half in here, half in down here at the 200 and your weekly S1. But that's not a bad setup to find out if we get continuation. This thing could keep going. So I like NZD CAD, Pound CAD, Pound Oz, Aussie NZD. You're looking for sells all the way. Aussie New Zealand, you're looking for sells all the way. And that should about do it for right now. So that's all I got. We covered CAD, covered Euro, right? We want buys in dollar CAD. I showed you the pattern. Euro, you're looking for sells. They're nice trades. Nasdaq, mark it up. Your quarterly R2. And you're running into your hundreds. So you're about to get some nice trades. All right. That's all I got. If you enjoy what I'm doing, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. Other than that, have a good one. See you next time.